So much to talk about. Caleb Williams finally addressed the media last week at the NFL Combine. The guy's going to be a Bear, right? Like, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a Chicago Bear, right? Like, this is happening. We're going to talk about a little bit about that. The Justin Fields trade market has been a little, quote, underwhelming. We're going to try and dive into that. Why might that be the case? We're going to give our overall thoughts as well from the NFL Combine, some risers, some fallers in terms of draft stock, who stood out and who just came out flat. And next week is NFL free agency. It's fastly approaching. Which NFL quarterback in free agency is going to be that first domino to fall? And again, it's the Bare Necessities podcast, and it all starts now. Joining me back on the program today, back by popular demand, the guy, my guy, your guy, Jack Lomax. What's up, man?
You're a liar. It's not popular demand for this British wazzock, but I'm here, darling. I'm here.
I had so many people reach out to me and was like, "Who's that British guy you had on your podcast that's such a big Bears fan?" I'm like, and I had to dive into the story of how we became friends and how I know you through, some of my guy friends, and here we are, just talking on a podcast about the Chicago Bears. I mean, this is what life is all about. This is what sports is all about.
There we go. Yeah, great connection. Yeah, we'll good friends through some Philly green. We won't dive into that Philly side just yet.
Yeah, this is definitely not a Philadelphia Eagles podcast. Sorry, Brandon Trough. I want to start the show off though with some breaking news, some breaking Bears Twitter news late last night. In the middle of the night, more towards around midnight, the Bears made a trade.
Oh,
that's
God,
right.
Yeah.
They traded for Bills offensive lineman Ryan Bates. That's right. Hallis Hall, the people up there, were working very hard last night. They traded a 5th-round pick for the Bills offensive lineman Ryan Bates. And keep in mind, Jack, that Ryan Bates was Ryan Poles' boy back from 2 off seasons ago when Poles tried to sign him and Buffalo matched their offer sheet, and he went back to Buffalo. So the guy, again, he's more of a depth piece, an immediate upgrade over Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair, whatever the hell that situation was that the Bears had going last year. What are your thoughts? I feel like Ryan Poles isn't done. He's not done addressing the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm gonna almost disagree. I almost don't think he's a depth piece. I think he's actually going to be a starter.
You think he's going to be a starter? Okay.
I'm throwing it out there. We've got this positive mindset today. I'm not going to come in here all negative Nancy. All right. So I think he is going to be a starter. If you look at what was on the Baltimore offensive line, so Baltimore Bills, offensive line, he couldn't get in, which is not a knock on his talent. It's just, like I said, he's his age, he's the veterans that were in front of him. And the only reason he's not there now is they've got another guy that's younger than him that's going to be less guaranteed money. That's the only reason he's not on that starting lineup. He's going to come into the Bears offensive line and he's going to go ham. I'm putting my name, putting my hat on that, and I'm guaranteeing he's going to be a starter. And if he's not, like I said, we have so many injuries on this bloody line. He'll fit anywhere on that line.
I don't think Poles is necessarily done. I know myself, and a lot of other Bears fans out there would love if Poles was kicking the tires on the kid from Oregon, Powers Johnson. He looks like a great prospect for the center position, and that's the thing. Where is Bates going to play? I've been reading Bills fans threads that this guy can play all 5 offensive line positions, so he's got some versatility. I don't think he's an above average starter, but I still think, this is a good depth piece. And as we all know, the Bears can always improve that offensive unit. So my only negative take from this is now the Bears are left with 5 draft picks. So a lot of people are having a hard time knowing that we're heading into the NFL draft with 5 draft picks and Justin Fields is still on the roster. I mean, clearly we're going to get some picks back from Fields if he is traded. That is, if he is traded, signs
Hmm.
are certainly trending towards that. And we're going to get to Justin Fields in just a second. But
Yes,
first,
sir.
some more Bears news, some Bears news that probably will be coming later down the road today. Bears have until, I think, 3 or 4 o'clock to hit Jaylon Johnson with that franchise tag deadline. Do we still believe, Jack, that Ryan Poles is going to get that long-term extension done for Mr. Jaylon Johnson?
Not today. 110% not today. It, we will get it done. We are going to franchise tag him. He's clear. He's not going to be happy about it. He's not going to be happy playing on a 1 year, franchise tag, but it is going to give us that wiggle room to actually get that deal done. And we are going to get the deal done long term eventually. It's one of those things that hindsight, you look back and you think, oh, we could have got him for this amount. Like, put the gamble on him. He absolutely blew our socks off all season, and now we owe him more money. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to franchise tag him. It sucks. I hate to use that on a player like that who
Yeah.
deserves the long term contract, but it is what
And
it is.
and speaking of long term contracts, I don't know if you saw a little a tweet that came out last night regarding Darnell Mooney, who actually was offered a contract extension. He would have been paid around $10 million a season heading into this last year, and the dude declined it. And like, there's no way Darnell Mooney is going to make $10 million over 3 years moving forward. It's a shame because I think he's still a good talent in this league, and he should have
Yes,
taken
sir.
it while he was there. And realistically, I mean, I don't expect Darnell Mooney to be back on this team. Do you?
No. As you were just talking, then I'm thinking, like, what a bullet dodge, but it's not. Like, does he fit our scheme right now? No. So yes, in a sense, it is a bullet dodge, but at the same time, he's talented enough where he could land on a roster and be an immediate contributor. Um, I think of a team like the Jags. They're losing. They're going to lose. They've lost Calvin Ridley essentially for this season, and you've got a person there that you can put into his position and continue taking off what Calvin Ridley had done for way less. So he's going to have good landing spots. He's going to thrive in the league. He's just not with the Chicago Bears, and it's definitely not for 10 mil. Oh, that's a gamble that you missed out on, isn't it? That's terrible.
I'm not coming.
Terrible.
I'm not coming with Justin slander here. I'm not trying to poke and prod and be that guy, but I'm going to bring this up again, and I think we touched about it.
Yeah.
Talked about it. The last time you were on the
Yes,
show,
we did.
like Darnell Mooney just didn't exist this season because of Luke Getsy and Justin Fields not throwing him the ball, and this narrative that Darnell Mooney, like the whole like, oh, the Bears got to get more weapons on offense because all they have is DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. Well, Darnell Mooney caught 80 something balls the season before DJ was ever here, had 1,000 yards practically. I mean, like it's not like he just, it's like he evaporated into thin air. And I think
Let's.
people
Yeah.
want to forget about that. And I'm sorry, but it's the quarterback's job
Don't
to
put it
get
on
all
Justin.
his, it's the quarterback's job to get all receivers involved. And I'm sorry, but guys like Tyler Scott, Velus Jones, and I don't mean to throw Velus Jones in there because we can be here for an hour talking about how Velus Jones just doesn't deserve a roster spot on this team. But how do we actually expect our young receivers to produce and to deliver in this league if the quarterback isn't throwing them the ball? So I don't want to harp on Darnell Mooney too much, but I just thought that report was really interesting that he had a contract offer on the table. He had a contract offer on the table and was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll wait." It's like, man, you'll be lucky to make $3 million this year, in my opinion. Like,
yes. So
and it's Justin and Luke Getsy's fault.
No. It's I'm gonna throw it. I love my Justin. Get away from him, you swine. All right. It isn't Justin. Yes, he should be able to distribute the ball more. I'm telling you, it was that fraud, Luke Getsy, and his crap play. You're going to see it in Vegas. You're going to see it. He's just blinders. He's got his blinders on. Darnell Mooney was our wide receiver one last year. That's why he got the ball. Luke Getsy does not have it in his thick bloody skull to create a playbook that involves more than one wide receiver and one tight end. Okay, we're going to see that ball get distributed, whether it is Justin Fields, whether it is Caleb Williams this year. I put that sole blame on Luke Getsett. If Darnell Mooney ends up at Vegas for whatever reason, he's an absolute chump because it is the Getsy effect. I'm gonna pencil that one in, the Getsy effect, because we're going to see it again. The fraud.
The Getsy effect. That's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. This is the Bare Necessities podcast. Okay, so enough about Darnell Mooney, the Getsy effect, Jaylon Johnson, and the tag situation. Let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes at Hallis Hall. Let's talk about Caleb Williams for a second. The NFL Combine was last week. Caleb obviously did not participate in drills. He's going to throw at USC for his pro day on March 20th. After hearing him speak, Jack, and again, a lot of people are still painting him this narrative that he's the villain and he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that. What did you take away from hearing Caleb talk? And let's talk about the medical situation, because I know that's been rubbing people the wrong way. But again, the Bears are in such a unique position right now, picking number one, that I'm sorry, but they will. I promise you, people, I promise you, Ryan Poles and the Bears front office will get their hands on Caleb Williams' medicals. I promise. But Jack, what were your thoughts about Caleb Williams finally speaking to the media in Indianapolis this last week?
I'm going to start by saying something positive. All right.
Wow, something positive about Caleb from you?
We're gonna go with what we call a positive sandwich. All right.
I can't wait to hear.
He is going to be a Chicago Bear. All right. And it's not necessarily a positive, but that's what you want to hear, right? He is going to be 100% a Chicago Bear.
Okay.
That being said, what a bloody diva! He has got the biggest diva vibes I've ever seen on the pissing planet. It's giving me Russell Wilson doing the Broncos country. Let's ride. Like I can see it. I can see it, and it's cringe. It's making me cringe. I'm cringing. So like, I don't like that he doesn't feel like he doesn't need an agent. I don't like that he doesn't think he needs to do the drills and the medical thing. I'm going to trust you on this, John. I think he is. Ryan Poles and the team are going to get his medical. He made the comment, I'm only signing on for one team. Everyone doesn't need to see my medicals. Why? What you got to hide? I mean, if Caleb wasn't our guy, we still want to make sure that X amount of people are going to see the medical in case we have to trade. I don't know. It's a red flag, and I don't like red flags, and he has too many of them.
I get it. How he's going about his business, people. Like I understand. It's like unprecedented, but I think people need to understand that Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, this draft class, like this is the first true group of collegiate prospects that have like fully gone through the NIL window. So these kids are like, I mean, and again, they're kids, but they're already millionaires. Like they're already popular, like, so like, for example, like all the backup quarterbacks last year in the league are making like the league minimum. Okay. Well, Caleb Williams is coming in making $10 million off of all these endorsement deals and all the NIL money he's been having. So like the guy is already insanely popular, insanely wealthy, probably more wealthy than a lot of NFL backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I understand it's completely unprecedented how he's handling his business, but I don't have a problem with how he actually explained, so like, for example, the 23rd team that's picking in the NFL draft, like they don't need his medicals.
Sure.
Also, there's nothing medically wrong with him, in my opinion. I mean, and I'm no doctor. I don't have access to his medicals, but the guy never missed one game at Oklahoma or USC.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have this injury history. He doesn't have a Michael Penix injury history where a lot of NFL teams are going to be like, hey, how are those knees? Like there isn't really many red flags about his medical history. And again, the Bears are picking first. I promise you, people, they probably already have his medical history. I don't know if you were able to read Albert Breer's Monday Morning Quarterback article that came out yesterday morning, but according to Albert Breer in reports, the Bears were thinking about bringing Caleb Williams in today, Tuesday, March 5th. They were going to bring him in for a private workout up at Hallis Hall. And according to the Bears and Caleb Williams' camp, They pushed it back following his pro day at USC. But like the fact that Justin Fields is still technically a Chicago Bear, and they were already going to bring in Caleb Williams this early in the process, like right after the combine, where he didn't throw for a private workout. Like you'd think, like if they don't already have his medicals, you'd think they would get it today of all days. And obviously today isn't happening, but like that is so early in the process to bring in a prospect in early March when like we're still, 7 weeks away from the draft. I mean, like this is happening, dude. Like Caleb Williams is gonna be a Bear.
And I, li- I'm a big Ryan Poles fan. In Ryan Poles we trust, and
I am
he's
too.
the way he held himself in that press conference that he had. And he's like, "We're
He
gonna
killed it.
do just
He
yeah,
killed
we're
it.
gonna do Justin right. Yeah, phenomenal. Like I'm 100% behind that guy. I know I made some comments last time, don't fuck it up, but we're still here. Like he hasn't messed it up yet. He's done some questionable decisions and some late rounders, but nothing franchise altering. Now this is the franchise altering pick. Now going back to Caleb, deciding not to do all this stuff at the combine, it does beg the question with the combine itself. I don't like how all these players are starting to like drop out of performing. The combine's there for a reason. If you think about the NFL as a business, it is a business. Everyone makes that comment. The NFL is a business. If I'm a businessman, CEO of a company, or whatever, and I'm trying to get the best person available, I want to see him perform because that is my business that I've got to take care of. And if you're going to elect to not do that stuff, granted, yes, he is going to throw it his own pro day, but when you start to again throw out them red flags and say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I'm avoiding this, I'm avoiding this. As a businessman, you're thinking to yourself, why? What? And this everyone's doing it. For me, at the combine, everyone should be performing. We're getting away from the combine's becoming a joke at this point. The combine's becoming a a reality TV show. And
I think the combine is just turning into, can these kids speak in front of the media? Can they
yeah,
can they perform in front of the
hmm
press?
hmm
But going back several drafts, like Joe Burrow didn't throw at the combine, Trevor Lawrence didn't throw at the combine. The two other top prospects that are going to go right behind Caleb Williams this year, Drake May and Jaden Daniels, both didn't participate in throwing drills. So this whole oh, Caleb didn't throw, he's not ready, he's a bust, blah, blah, like dude, like I'm not reading into that.
I
And
want to see
and
everyone do
honestly,
it.
and honestly, man, like I didn't need to see him throw. I feel like we've watched the tape. Like he's got the talent. Like we've seen him make the throws, and
Effortless.
he's going to butter it up and make it, the biggest production possible, doing it at his own pro day on campus at the University of Southern California, just like Drake May is going to do it at Chapel Hill in North Carolina, just like how Jaden Daniels is going to perform in Baton Rouge in front of all the scouts. So like
Yeah.
I don't I'm not trying to get so hung up on the he didn't throw part. Now, this is the important question, and this is the question that a lot of Bears fans are actually curious about because it certainly seems to be trending that Caleb is going to be the future of this franchise. The big question that I have as a Bears fan: does Caleb want to be a Chicago Bear? Like, we heard the report of him talking to Pete Thamel from ESPN last week. Of I've done research on Walter Payton and Michael Jordan, and I love deep dish pizza. Like that's great, bro. And like I know, like I think he understands like what it would be like to be a legend in this town, which I think is super cool. Like
hmm
to be on that sports legend pedigree in this town,
hmm
to like have your meals paid for you the rest of your life, to never have to buy a drink. You walk into a bar, someone's got you. Like that is how we take care of our sports heroes in this town and our legends. I think he gets that. But does Caleb actually want to be a Bear? Like, is he ready for this moment? Are the Bears ready for this moment?
I, so he wants to be the number one pick. He wants to play in the NFL. The whole reason he left Oklahoma was again, it wasn't a uh, it was a business decision. So I think he wants to be in a Chicago Bear. I think if he had a choice of all 32 teams, the answer is no. And that's not a knock on Chicago. Uh, Die Chicago, but I think that's just personal preference. I could see him at a team like Dallas, throwing to CD Lamb and Jay Ferguson and Brandon Cooks and just America's team and all that crap. But you know, a lot of people are talking about Washington. He wants to go to Washington. It's his hometown. I think that's a crock of shit. It winds me up that everyone's talking about Washington is the destination he wants. No, it ain't. I don't give a rat's ass that it's his home. You know, if he wanted to play at home, he would have played at Washington last year or 2022. He had the opportunity to transfer wherever the hell he wanted. Washington had an open quarterback position, and he decided USC or Wisconsin. So he's happy with the Midwest. So everyone's saying, "Oh, you don't want to go to the Midwest." Piss off. Wisconsin was one of his two choices.
Could have
All
been a
right,
Badger. Could have been a
could have been
Badger.
a bloody Badger. I'd have cried. I'd have tears, absolute tears of joy. That we wouldn't be having this discussion about I don't like Caleb. I would be, I'd be on top of that train, like choo choo. So at the end of the day, he went to USC because of Lincoln Riley. He didn't go to USC because of Cliff Kingsbury. So the fact that everyone's just talking, oh, Cliff Kingsbury's at Washington, he don't give a shit. That was his quarterback coach. He went to USC because of his head coach. He isn't going to Washington because of his quarterback coach. I can guarantee it. He is going to be a Chicago Bear. I'm
It
accepting
just
this fate. It's happening.
I get the whole Cliff Kingsbury connection. Like I understand that. But like if you look big picture, and I think most national media folks like are just failing to do this because they think of the Bears and they just think of all the punchlines and our history of never having quarterbacks and all this shit, right? But like the Washington roster is in shambles right now. This team has no identity. They have a rookie head coach, like not a rookie head coach. Dan Quinn's been a head coach in this league before, but he's a new head coach
Year one. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Washington. They have a brand new GM. Like on paper, it's not just going to click right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a better chance of things clicking immediately with a 7-win team here in Chicago, with a good defense, with a
Right.
proven offensive coordinator that knows how to get talent out of the players that he has in
Yep.
front of him, that has
Mm-hmm.
worked with the quarterback collective before, that Caleb Williams has been a part of. So is Justin Fields,
Yep.
and Shane Waldron. So I'm coming at it from this. If the Bears were to pass on Caleb Williams, it shows me that they're a worrisome franchise with a lack of confidence in their internal infrastructure and their ability to just manage everything with his arrival. Like they just wouldn't be ready for it. And I think that would be extremely, extremely unfortunate that they're not like ready for this moment from top to bottom. Like the Bears must recognize like how grand this
Mm-hmm.
opportunity is. The whole league is talking about us. Like the moment that we're given right now, this opportunity, in realizing as well, like the magnitude that comes with this. Like, I don't think the McCaskey families, like, are they ready? Because the spotlight is going to be the brightest it has ever been on the Bears if we roll with Caleb as QB1 in this city. Like, are the Bears ready for that? Are they ready to take that next step? Like that is what really worries me. I think Poles is ready to pull the trigger. I think he is Poles' guy. I think he is the dude that Poles wants. But the McCaskey, like, it scares the shit out of me because I feel like they like just kind of being like, in the shadows a little bit. I don't think they
Flying under the
like the
radar. Yep.
spotlight.
Yep.
And Caleb is opposite of that. Caleb wants the smoke. He wants the spotlight. I'm sorry, but like all these lame duck quarterbacks that are just, I gotta say this and I gotta say that, and this is what quarterbacks usually say. Like,
True.
I love that. I love that Caleb isn't like that. I love that he's a little arrogant. He's got a little cockiness to them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to do something different than what we've usually done in the past. And
Yeah.
I think this is that moment. So again, Jack, are the Bears ready to take on this moment? Are they ready for this spotlight?
I I will say you know my stance on this. Justin Fields through and through, but I'm Chicago as well. I'm Chicago through and through. So if we end up with Caleb Williams, am I going to be a bit salty? Yeah, because I've liked Justin Fields from the get go. Am I going to be upset about it? No. I'm going to get on that train like I got on the train with Jimmy Clausen and Jason Campbell and Josh McCown. I know you say Josh McCown is good. I'm thinking cack. He's a fraud in the league as well. But my point is, I'll get on board behind him because that's what we do. All right. I think if Caleb Williams, the one thing I do worry about Caleb Williams is his ego fragile. I hate already bashing him. I don't want to bash him. I'm trying to be positive. Today was a positive. I'm trying to be positive. Not doing it. But is his ego strong enough to deal with a Chicago fan base? We are a polarizing, hard to crack fan base. We have, some strong words. You've seen the media and how we all talk about Justin Fields. You go to a game, everyone's screaming, we love Justin. You look online, everyone's bashing him. You've got to have a hard head for that. And does Caleb Williams have that?
But what if it takes 6 games for everybody to turn the corner and be like, holy shit, like Caleb Williams is the real deal. And like, great for Justin, wherever he is, but like the Bears have to take this shot. They have to take this shot. Like, I'm going to continue to say it. I'm going to continue to harp and preach on it. They have to take this shot. And whether it works or it doesn't, they got to take this shot. And if it doesn't work, they're going to find themselves in another situation down the road where they're going to have to do the same thing. But like, this grand opportunity only comes once in so long.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears would be foolish to not meet the moment.
Correct.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Again, he's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnassi. This is the Bear Necessities Podcast. Let's move on to the other pressing subject. The other quarterback, the current quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Where is he going to find himself next season, Jack? And according to some reports that I've been hearing and you've been hearing, we've been reading about, the trade market for Justin Fields heading into NFL free agency, it's been underwhelming. And should Bears fans have some concern?
No, don't have any concern. I think he's not going to be a Chicago Bear. He's not going to be a Chicago Bear. I want as much as we can get for Justin because I think that's the value that I have for him personally. I think he's a second rounder. Realistically, I'd love for him to get a first round, but we put our realist hats on. He's going to go. He's going to be a second, probably a third. And I think he's going to end up on the Falcons. Now, I keep seeing reports about the Falcons are more interested in Kirk Cousins. No. Kirk Cousins is going right back to the Vikings. He's going back to the Vikings because of the NFLPA rankings thing. Vikings were like the number one team across all 32 teams of where the best destination is to play. I'm just as shocked. Pissing neighbors in the north are the best place to play. Right? That's where Kirk wants to go. If he isn't going there, he's going to, I don't know. I can't even think of any team. Maybe, do you know where I think he'll go? I think he'll go to the Broncos. But coming back to Justin, I think he ends up on the Falcons. I think he's a good fit for Pittsburgh. The attraction of throwing to George Pickens and Deontay Johnson is just outrageous right now. But I want as a Justin Fields fan, I want him to land in a good spot. I don't want him to land on a team that is in the middle of a rebuild again. I want him to land in a spot that is going to be, he's going to land on his feet. Just make sure it's like the AFC. Get on the AFC. Stay away from us.
I just think a landing spot in the AFC, it would hurt Chicagoland less that are huge Justin Fields fans to watch him on an AFC team, rather watching him, in Atlanta. Or I've heard rumors that Minnesota's been kicking the tires, although I don't really necessarily think that the Bears would send Justin Fields to a division rival. I just can't see it. I also saw some reports last night, and I'm not sure how credible or true this is, but that Kirk Cousins is looking at buying property in the Atlanta area.
So piss off!
No, I don't. I don't know. But what does have me just kind of concerned about the Justin Fields trade market right now is this more of a reflection, Jack, of Justin Fields' play and how the rest of the league perceives him as maybe just like a one man threat with his legs and not his arm, or do you think more that all this Caleb hype and what teams actually think the Bears are going to do in drafting Caleb Williams number 1 overall? Do you think that's driving Justin's stock down? What are your thoughts on that?
Until we make the decision on Caleb, that's where we are. I think the reason Justin Fields is still on our roster right now, if I'm being honest, is because we are trying to get as much value as we can for him as a pick. If we come out and say today we are drafting Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, any way, shape, or form being a second round pick goes down to a third because every NFL team knows we're not keeping him on the roster. We are going to trade him, and that's all it is. It's a chess game, right?
Could this all be a giant smokescreen by Ryan Poles? Could he be fooling everybody? We don't know.
If he does, he's bloody Houdini because there's no way he is. I hate to say it, I'd love for Justin Fields to stay on the roster. I love it. I think. For me, my stance on this. If the Caleb Williams pick goes wrong, you end up with a rebuild. Like we've had more rebuilds.
You end up with the biggest NFL bust in NFL history. Like that's what we end up with.
It's another rebuild. Like
I just don't see it happening. But
my 4-year-old's had more rebuilds through his Lego set. Right? It's I can't do another one. I can't. I can't figure this out. Justin Fields is the piece that's in place right now where it's steady. But again, the Chicago Bears, it's just steady. I'm almost buying myself into this Caleb hype just to ignite something in the franchise. That being said, it's chess. It's a game of chess. The second we say, I truly believe Justin Fields will be off the roster before the Bears make the announcement that we're going with Caleb Williams.
I know Justin's your guy. And last night when I was on my local sportsbook app, I'm looking at odds, and Justin Fields' odds to take his next snap with an NFL team, he's minus 275 with Atlanta right now. The second team is the Bears at plus 275. And the odds that Caleb Williams gets chosen number 1 overall by the Chicago Bears, the odds are minus 900. So you can just kind of tell what Vegas thinks is happening behind the scenes, and Vegas knows all. So I asked you this last time you were on the show, and I know you're a Justin guy, and I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask everybody who is a Justin Fields fan this. Is Justin, or is he not, the 4th best quarterback in this division right now? Behind Jared Goff, behind Jordan Love, and behind, if Kirk Cousins goes back to Minnesota, he's the 4th worst quarterback. He's the worst quarterback in this division. And it's not a knock on Justin. It is what it is, and you know I'm right. And the Bears need to close that gap. This division is only getting stronger. It's getting tougher. Everyone is elevating their play. Maybe Minnesota's kind of middling out because that's what they do. They middle out. They don't scare me. But like the Bears need to close that talent gap between Green Bay and Detroit. And I'm sorry, but you got to take a shot with your guy at quarterback. And we need a guy on the roster to elevate more people on offense at their own positions instead of just 2 guys being elevated in DJ and Cole Kmet. I want to see Tyler Scott develop. I want to see him get 50 balls next year. Like I want to see like our wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4 like get contested balls. And Justin doesn't see the field how we want him to see the field, and I just don't have faith that he's going to learn this new offense and he's just going to pick it up immediately. I just don't see it. Now, let's stay on the subject of quarterbacks here. Free agency starts this upcoming Monday. The legal tampering period starts, and then next Wednesday is when teams can actually start signing guys. So, we talked about Kirk Cousins a little bit. Russell Wilson just got let go by the Broncos, $86 million or $85 million in dead cap space. You know what's wild? What's wild? And I feel like a lot of Bears fans don't think about this, Jack. Like it could have been us. Like Ryan.
We were that close. Yes.
Ryan Pace could have delivered fans like the ultimate like fuck you and like traded 3 first-round picks, Roquan Smith for Russell Wilson, and we'd be stuck with that fucking contract. Like that, we could find ourselves in that spot right now. Ryan Poles would still be working his way to get us out of salary cap hell, and like thank God Ryan
That's
Pace didn't do that. Ryan Pace
yeah.
did do some decent things for this roster, like
Don't
Jaylon
get me wrong, yeah.
Johnson,
Yeah.
Ryan Pace, Tevin Jenkins, Ryan Pace, Justin Fields, Ryan Pace. You know, like there were some good things that Ryan Pace implemented for the current 2024
Mhm.
Bears, like
Yeah.
that has his fingerprints over it. But like the Russell Wilson thing, man, holy shit! I mean, like,
That was wild.
Do you remember like when that was going on? Like, and some of us were like, yeah, let's do it. Like Russell Wilson's worth it. And
I put
I,
money on
I
it.
still I still think Russell. Did you like? I still
Yeah.
think Russell Wilson is a top 20 guy in this league when he's healthy and he's on a good team. He's on a good roster. But like you're getting Russell Wilson like later on in his career, and it's just not a smart business decision. And look what the Broncos are dealing with now. So let me backtrack really quick. NFL free agency. I think a lot of people talking about the quarterback position. A lot of people thought that Justin Fields was going to be that first quarterback domino to fall, but now it seems like Baker Mayfield may need to re-sign with the Buccaneers. Kirk Cousins needs to figure out what he's going to do. Is Justin Fields going to be that first quarterback domino to fall, or is it going to be one of these other guys signing with a new team? What are your thoughts on that?
It makes sense that any franchise right now that's looking for a quarterback is looking at Kirk Cousins. Personally, I've never rated Kirk Cousins. Never been a fan of him. I don't know why. He irks me the wrong way. Kind of cringy. His talent is there clearly, but I've just never liked him. If he ended up on the Chicago Bears, I'd still be pissed. Um, like Baker Mayfield should not be going in front of Justin Fields, but at the end of the day, Tampa wants him back. He'll go back, especially with the Mike Evans um, contract recently. Which,
You'd think they told Mike Evans like, yo, like Baker's coming back. Like we're
they
about
have
to pay
to.
you all this money.
Yeah,
Like Baker's
for
coming
two
back.
years.
Like don't
For
worry.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then, like, I look at the NFL list, the NFL.com list. It's oh God, I forgot what the guy's name is that created the list. But you got Chris Jones on there as a number one free agent. Kirk Cousins is number two. So everyone's going to want Kirk Cousins on their team as a free agent, maybe a 1 year, 2 year contract. Pick someone up in the draft. But then that same person also had Jacoby Brissett as the 30th best free agent on the. I couldn't even tell you where his last team was. I honestly don't know. I still actually thought he was on the Patriots.
Cleveland?
So
Cleveland or Indianapolis, I believe. I think it's Cleveland.
I just don't get it. He had Jacoby Brissett over like Chase Young, Derrick Henry. He's like, oh yeah, Jacoby Brissett's the guy. I don't know. I'm taking NFL.com's list with a absolute grain of salt.
He's an above average backup, in my opinion.
Great backup.
The guy does his job,
but above Chase Young and Derrick Henry as a free agent,
right.
Get out of here.
Right. What do you think about Russell? I mean, what do you think about Russell Wilson? I mean, like, who do you see him potentially going to? That the Broncos cut him yesterday.
If Russell wants his way, he goes to a team there he's going to be a starter. Maybe he goes to a team where he can start, day one, and then they've got a rookie behind him to train. Well, not the Chicago Bears. I'm just throwing that out there right now. Caleb Williams comes in, he's the starter day one. Yeah. But a team where they grab a late round quarterback, maybe a Joe Milton. But personally, and I know I've just said this, I'm going to contradict myself. I wouldn't mind Russell Wilson as a backup.
I thought you just said you don't want him on the Bear. I thought you said you couldn't see it.
I know I couldn't see him as a starter. Don't get me wrong, but I could see him being a veteran voice.
Yeah, I just think like where he's at in his career, like he wants to compete for a championship. Like he wants one more last window. I can see him going to Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin and that franchise. I just think they would do right by him and they would try their best to give him the tools to succeed. But they need a little bit more than just Deontay Johnson. who also is going through a contract year.
Hmm.
There's talks that he might get moved off of Pittsburgh. I could just see Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, but it certainly seems like one of these guys, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield,
Yeah,
Russell Wilson. It certainly seems like one of these dudes has to go first before we get the news that Justin Fields gets moved.
yeah,
Like that. That's just me. Sticking on NFL free agency, Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle from Miami, is not going to get franchise tagged, so he's going to hit the free agency market. I got news today, and I'm sure you saw it as well. Saquon Barkley is not going to get franchise tagged, so he's going to hit free agency. I believe
we're gonna have
Josh
a great
Jacobs.
team next
I
year.
believe Josh Jacobs as well is going to be a
Screw
free
him! No,
agent.
let's go take on Bagley.
I think Christian Wilkinson makes a whole lot of sense. Whole lot of sense for
Yes.
the Bears. Again, Ryan Poles has so much money invested on that defensive side, and it wouldn't surprise me if they sign a running back in free agency. Would it be a top caliber running back like a Saquon Barkley or a Josh Jacobs, who've got a lot of miles on those legs? And I know, I know they're still on the right side of 30, but it just doesn't seem like a Ryan Poles move. It seems like Christian Wilkins is more of a Ryan Poles kind of move.
Yeah.
What about those big names excites you, and do you think the Bears have a shot at any of them?
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at the cap space. I think with the cap space increased as well. I think the Bears are around that 80 something $million they have. And
Realistically, it's around 65 million after the NFL draft. Like that's when they agreed to, it's really 65 million that like they have like wiggle room to play around with.
And actually, I think it drops even more because of the dead cap space that we have for Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair and randomly PJ Walker. But
we're not paying Danny Trevathan anymore. I know that, so that's a good thing. Thanks, Ryan Pace. Jesus, we were paying Danny Trevathan like millions of dollars, and like he hasn't even been in the league since like 2020 something. Woof. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. But we have money to spend, and I think we can get one of the big guys. If we can get Christian Wilkins, that's a game changer. That's an interior defensive player that's going to shake stuff up. We've already got Montez Sweat on the side. Personal preference, and this is we're throwing some dreams out there. Saquon Barkley on a 1-year deal. He's not going to get a multi-year deal. He's got biscuit knees. His knees like a Nature Valley bar. All right. And that's our fault. All right. It would just be poetic that we managed to get him back after we were the ones that derailed his career. But anyway, I digress. But
he's got
Saquon
biscuit knees.
Yeah, crumbly.
Continues.
So we got Saquon Barkley on a 1-year. Christian Wilkins, and I'm going to throw it out there. I am in love with the ideal of having is it Danielle Hunter from the Vikings. Just imagine that front seven on the defensive side would just be outrageous. Outrageous. In fact, the full top to bottom roster.
And Danielle Hunter has been rumored that the Bears, are interested in him. So,
oh my God, them two, him and Montez Sweat on either side, it's Pro Bowl numbers. You've got then you've got to deal with Wilkins in the middle, and then you've still got that phenomenal linebacker core. You've got them defensive backs that are just absolutely just tearing up right now.
Do you think the Bears are more likely to draft a safety to take Eddie Jackson's place, or do you think that they might sign like a veteran to like a minimum deal to replace Eddie Jackson, that free safety spot?
There are some veterans that are on the market. I think we may grab one. I don't think they're going to do one for a starter. I think they'll grab one. I don't know. I personally, I think the draft this year, top to bottom, is the strongest draft we've seen in a while for like nearly every position, where I would like to see a rookie. I would actually like to see the rookie from Miami. I know he had a bad combine, which again starts to talk about why people shouldn't be in the combine. Again, contradicting myself, a walking contradiction today. But my point is I'd like to see a rookie with a minimum contract. If we have a veteran with a minimum contract, great. Cycle them in. I don't care, but
Mhm.
put that money up on that front seven. And oh god, I can't wait. I'm genuinely excited. Like I'm thinking about that defense, and it does suck that it doesn't sound like we're gonna have Flus making the calls. It's going to be the new guy from the Bills. But
No, 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 no. Eberflus is still calling plays. He confirmed it. He's still calling
oh,
plays.
baby!
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I mean, never mind. I'm
Yeah,
uneducated.
Eric Washington is just going to lead defensive meetings. He's going to get guys in their place, and
Oh,
he's
I mean,
going to advise Eberflus. But Flus is still calling plays. I think don't break. Like don't fix what's
don't.
not
Yeah,
broken, and
yeah.
that's like the one thing I think Eberflus brings to the table.
It's his bread and butter. Yeah.
Is calling plays on defense.
God,
So that
thank
isn't
God for
changing.
that.
That
Good.
isn't
All right.
changing.
So yeah, let's go. Let's get a couple of guys more on defense. That's absolutely short. I mean, our defense is already shit hot. But you get them pieces. We're formidable. Defense wins games, right? We always say
Mhm.
that. The offense, yes, we have our issues. Caleb Williams is going to be the Lord and Savior. Saquon Barkley, 1 year contract. Draft the wide receivers. Them wide receivers in this year, the depth is wild. There are some people on that going in round 3 and 4 that I'm like, yeah, I'll take him. He's a day one starter. Um, love it. Excited.
Let's wrap up the show today. Talk about the NFL Combine, some prospects that saw their stock rise from this past week, and also some prospects that didn't look so hot. So, starting off, Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy broke the NFL scouting combine record with that 4.21 40-yard dash. Easily made himself like an early
Mm-hmm.
day 2 pick, maybe potentially a late first round pick, just depending on how many receivers go in that first round. JJ McCarthy, a local kid from Nazareth Academy here in LaGrange, Chicago's finest. JJ McCarthy, a national champion for the Michigan Wolverines. The guy measured out great. He wasn't like killing it and throwing drills, but he's a name that I keep hearing that guy can potentially crack the top 10, maybe the top 50. I mean, it seems like he's a lock for a top 15 in the first round. And then also Florida State defensive tackle Braden Fisk just really hit on all his drills, ran a 4.78 in the 40-yard dash. He scored a 9.92 on his relative athletic score, which is insane for a defensive tackle. Guy's a lock for an early day selection. So some of those guys, Chop Robinson also had a really great combine, ran a great 40. Which one of those guys really stuck out to you, Jack?
Big Braden Fisk guy. Big,
Mm-hmm.
big Braden Fisk. Watching him and Jared Verse on Florida State, phenomenal. Absolutely. You plug them in any team, they're going to be massively disruptive. So big on Fisk. Glad he had a good combine. I didn't think he was getting the recognition that he deserved, and so I think his combine is if he manages to fall to the third round, he's not. But if he manages to fall to the third round, we trade up and grab him. I don't care what we have to do. Or trade up to the second round. I don't care. I want that guy on the roster if he keeps falling, but he's not going to. He's going to be phenomenal. JJ McCarthy, I'm going to completely disagree with you. Hometown hero, I get it. Absolute fraud in the league. He's going to be a nobody. He's yes, he won a natty champ. Who won the natty champ last year? Stetson Bennett,
Stetson
right?
Bennett. Yeah.
Where's that? Who the fuck is he? Where is he? I genuinely don't know. I'm saying it. Did he even get drafted? I don't know. I don't know where he is. Is he alive? Is he good? Who's Stetson Bennett? You won a natty champ. Who gives a shit? Like, it don't mean shit. JJ McCarthy's falling. I'm telling you right now, mark my words. I want date it up top. JJ McCarthy will be the marquee signing. The marquee signing of the San Antonio Brahmas in 2026. He is going to the UFL. He is the Rock. He's going to be stood next to him. JJ is going to be doing his meditation on whatever the bloody hell the stadium that they play in. He is going to be a nobody. Mark my bloody words. Toronto Argonauts. Send him there. JJ bloody McCarthy. He's going to be your boss. Sorry.
Let's no, it's all right. Tell us how you really feel. Let's talk about some prospects that did not have the greatest combine. And you alluded to one of the better safeties, if not the safety that a lot of experts thought would come out and be one of the top safeties chosen in the NFL draft. Miami safety Cameron Kitchens arrived in Indianapolis. Again, many thought he is going to be one of the best safeties available,
Mm-hmm.
and he ran a 4.6, which was tied for among the worst of all defensive backs. And he only scored a 2.1 in his relative athletic score. Like that's like one of the worst scores ever recorded in combine history for a defensive
Remedial.
back. Like since like for like the last like 15 years, it was brutal. Another guy that had a really not great combine this past week is Washington edge rusher Braylon Trice. The guy showed up 30 pounds lighter than his playing weight. So he was playing at 274 all year for the national champion runner-up Washington Huskies, and he showed up to the combine weighing 245. Like
Wow.
bro's gonna get manhandled by some of these offensive tackles in the league. Like
Yeah.
manhandled.
Yeah.
He ran a 4.72 in the 40-yard dash. It was 16th fastest among all edge rushers. I mean, just
Terrible.
like yikes, bud. Like just not showing up ready to go. Yeah. And
I,
I mean,
I,
do you have any other guys that stood
no.
out to you at the combine? Or
I love those two picks right there. So Braylon Trice, he's still going to go in the first round. He was phenomenal in college. He's had a bad combine. It is going to hurt his stock. I think he falls to a later round. I think he ends up actually going to our neighbours in the north, Detroit. You can go across from that absolute again. I can't stand him. Aiden Hutchinson, like I sound like a bitter Bears fan, but that guy just rubs me the wrong way. He runs like Waluigi, like with his like flopping his arms around and his legs away everywhere. He's a dirty tackler. He flops like LeBron. Absolute fraud from our northern neighbours. Braylon Trice can go there. He can learn how to tackle from Dan Campbell and his dirty ways. Miami safety Cameron Kitchens. I think I'm glad. I'm actually glad he did shit in the draft. In the combine. I'm happy because I'd love for him to fall down to us and have his stock hurt that bad that he falls down to the Bears and the Bears can coach him up. We've got a phenomenal coaching team. And he plays with one of his ex teammates, Tyreek Stevenson, who, let's face it, should have been Defensive Rookie of the Year. Got absolutely robbed. His stats last year were wild. Got targeted all that time and he just locked people down. Phenomenal. Anyway, let him fall. Let him fall. Outside of that, I think Chop Robinson is like you said, mentioned earlier, phenomenal talent. He's a scary looking motherfucker. He is a big guy. And if he was, like seriously, if he was charging you down, you would shit your pants. If you're the quarterback and you're looking at him and he's just bullying his way to you, you got to get rid of that ball. He's going to murder you. Like he's going to be phenomenal talent. And the last one that I'll mention is a dark horse. We saw him. He's got an absolute cannon arm. Is Joe Milton. I have been high on the Joe Milton stock from day one, and it makes me feel really good that he had a good combine. His stock is sky high. Did you see how easy it was, John? Did you see how easy it was that he just
yeah, man, he launched that ball. I mean, the guy has
effortlessly
a cannon of an arm. I
wild?
I think this is just one of those quarterback classes where he's just stuck, unfortunately, behind a lot of other guys like Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Sam Hartman might even be in front of him from Notre Dame. Like there's just so many guys coming
Mm-hmm.
out this year that Joe Milton, unfortunately, like doesn't have like the stats and enough, like enough data and
Right.
stats to back it up. But like the guy for sure has a
You
rocket of an
mentioned
arm.
you mentioned Sam Hartman, Notre Dame.
Yep.
Did you see there was the drill like
What
arm
a handsome
strength?
devil. What a
He is
handsome devil.
ridiculous. Like he's going to be the face of a franchise, but that's it, just the face because his arm talent sucks. Because I just watched in there was that drill, the power drill, where they were seeing how
How
fast
fast
yeah,
how fast the quarterbacks throw it, like miles per hour. Yeah.
50, 52, 53, absolute trash. It was terrible. I'm looking at it
What
going, that was
what could you
embarrassing.
throw? What do you think you could throw?
We're going to talk about it. I don't even know if I can throw a ball correctly. Let's be real. But You look at Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton had the strongest arm. I think he was 63. Sam Hartman was
I mean,
50.
he is a man amongst men. I mean, his frame, his build is quite impressive.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, let's wrap up the show today. We're running out of time here. Final thoughts from you, my friend, about any and all things Chicago Bears as we head into free agency next week and the USC Pro Day that's fastly approaching, and all eyes are going to be on Mr. CW. What are your thoughts? Let's wrap up the show.
All right. I've got a couple of personal opinions. Caleb Williams, he's going to be a Chicago Bear. Let's say it as it is. I'll welcome him with open arms. Good luck, Justin Fields. You're going to be fantastic wherever you go. Just stay the hell out of the NFC. Appreciate you. Some opinions. Combine. It ain't what it used to be. It's gone crazy. You've got your hometown hero, Tip Ryman, I think his name was, talking about birds aren't real, baby pigeons aren't seen, telephone lines are charging
That was quite a
stations.
story. Yeah.
And he still wasn't the weirdest guy in the draft. You got Texas Tech Tyler Owens joining the flat Earth movement, telling planets in the space aren't real. I don't know what's going on with the draft right now, but it's moving away from the athleticism of a player and towards the most viral thing that's going to be on Pat McAfee's podcast. Like it's insane. The off the field drama this year has been bigger than the NFL. Taylor Swift, Aaron Rodgers, and his tin hat remarks on Pat's aforementioned podcast. Combine's in danger of losing even more top talent from participating in case of damaged reputations. Neither here nor there. NFL PA rankings came out last week, based on players' satisfaction at their franchises. Purpose of these report cards were used as a guide for teams to see where they can improve. That's all it was. It has become a bashing, slut-shaming kind of show. Funnily enough, the Chicago Bears were 10th ranked. I just want to say that. Super Bowl champions were ranked 31st. The only reason they weren't ranked last is because Andy Reid is God. The Washington Commanders were the last ranked. So suck on those apples, Colin Cowherd. That silky voiced tosspot comes out recently and says the Washington Commanders will be a better landing spot for Caleb than the 10th ranked Chicago Bears. Put that in your fucking pipe with your permanently surprised eyebrows and smoke it, you bloody pleb. All right? Caleb's going to be at Chicago, and he loves that better than Washington's shit show of a franchise. Smoke on it, Colin. Oh, already got me wound up thinking about that. Sorry.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there it is, Jack Lomax and his hatred for Colin Cowherd. Again, he's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. This was the Bare Necessities podcast. Again, free agency is coming next week. The USC Pro Day is fastly approaching March 20th. All eyes will be on Caleb Williams, as I'm sure the Bears and like everybody and their mothers are going to be wanting to see how Mr. Williams performs. And quite possibly, could we see Justin Fields traded in the next week or two? I mean, I feel like we're just waiting for the news to break from Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, that Justin Fields is on his way out. Really quick, happy 25th birthday to Justin Fields, by the way. I hope he has a great day. I really do. Again, it's nothing personal against Justin. I love Justin. I think he's a great kid, and I want to see him succeed in this league. I think Jack knows it by now. As much of a Justin Fields backer as he is, that it certainly seems to be trending that he's not going to be on the roster this next season. It's that, or this is the biggest smoke screen of NFL history, and we've all been played a fool by Ryan Poles and the Bears front office. So, I mean, there's going to be so much for us to talk about in the coming weeks. I had so much fun today on the show, Jack, bro. Thank you for coming on again today, man. You fucking crack me up with some of your takes, dude. I love it. Let's keep this thing going. And obviously we're going to have so much to talk about in the next couple of weeks. So again, Jack Lomax, I'm John Presnowski. This was the Bare Necessities podcast. Thank you guys so much for your support, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.